And we're live.
Oh, slap behind you. Alright, it's on there now. Oh, wait a few minutes, see if anybody else joins. I don't know if I can go and watch my own live or not.
You should be able to.
Oh shit, I know what I didn't do. I didn't turn on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, I want to do that.
I know what I didn't do. I didn't turn on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, I want to do that.
There we go. I am not trying to wait and see if anybody joins here in a few minutes. Now, how do I go and watch the live? I'm living that.
You have to get on a different TikTok account and get on the live.
You do?
What?
You do?
You can't watch it on live on that account. Do you want to do it on his phone?
Well, I can.
Oh no, I can't. This phone died. Do you have TikTok on this one? Okay.
No.
And if you text me back, I can get on it.
How many phones you got?
3.
No.
What's your TikTok?
Mine? Justin.
Justin White 35.
Justin White 3553.
Yeah. Close in.
29276. So I've got another TikTok. I just don't ever get on it.
You the raw ass slow. That's what it said. Just joined.
It says what?
I got a bunch of people doing this. Playing Call of Duty. Crazy the time reaction on them.
2, 4, 4, 5.
I don't know. Maybe this thing will come up. So.
Well, at least we know the mics work good.
We're here, Dad.
All right. Love you.
Love you.
How many people's on there now?
I don't know exactly how to go and look.
4. Right up here.
Oh. 2.
Now there's 2.
3. 4.
Oh, I know where I can get on the other TikTok at. I forgot about this thing. I don't ever hardly use it anymore. I should be signed into it.
Hmm.
860038.
I don't get why I keep showing all these people joined. Maybe that's just them scrolling through, maybe.
The devil is not a...
No, it doesn't say show that they join until they click it.
Maybe they accidentally be clicking it. You know what I'm saying?
So,
There we go. Turn this down so it's not echoing.
So I did. I turned mine down. It's like I see us everywhere. Here.
Right?
I figured all the people that you put on Facebook, I mean, some more people.
I put a bunch out. A lot of people said they're going to watch it whenever I post it on YouTube and stuff. So we'll do it this weekend, and we'll go through and edit the video and stuff like that. Because turn the volume of the mics and stuff up, even though these pick up good, it's still they need increase. So I'll turn the decibels up. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Got a couple in here. I'd say a couple more will hopefully join. All right, so everybody, this is AJ. Brought him on. We're going to talk about recovery. AJ is going to give you a little bit of details about his recovery story and what he went through. We actually met because I was his counselor. He went through our program at the company that I was working at previously. Did really good. Now he's still in recovery, doing really good, working. So I brought him on to give his lead. As a counselor, that was my big thing. Before anybody could complete, I made everybody do their lead before they left. So I've heard it before, but a lot of you guys probably haven't. So I'm going to go ahead and let AJ tell his story, and then we'll have some questions and stuff for him. Maybe he'll have a little bit of advice to help everybody out.
Hello, well, I'm Anthony, as he said. So I guess growing up, like, I thought, I had my brother and my two parents together. I thought it was going to be, like a fairy tale pretty much. And then, I had my brother, and who I love dearly. And, well, I had to pretty much raise him at a young age because my mom wasn't there because she got with some other dude, ended up getting strung out on drugs. And so it was just me and my brother basically. And like I could count numerous times how many times we could have died of heat stroke, not having to go to friends' houses for food and water because my parents would be, or my mom would be in her room and everything. And, my dad, like, he was just not really there. I mean, he had his struggles. It's not that he couldn't be there. It was just, I don't really know much of the situation, I guess. Just so, just in and out of houses, going here, going there, like, trying to be with my dad. Ended up going to live with my aunt and uncle for a little bit and had some problems with there. While my stepdad would beat on my brother and like just having to see that and not being able to say nothing and everything. Well, so me and my brother decided to go to school and start telling the guidance counselors everything about how my brother or my mom and my stepdad were on drugs. And like we could tell you what kind of drugs they did, where they did them, how they did them. And so a CPS case got involved. And so they show up. Well, of course, they find everything that me and my brother had said, but they were prescribed to her supposedly, and that they told us that they could take, my mom could take him however she wanted to, as long as they were prescribed to her, is basically what we got. So that turned into a bigger fight because, me and my brother going to school and saying anything. So my mom kept trying to get rid of me. So I ended up going to move with my dad, and my brother was left at my mom's house. So at the time, like the house that we was in wasn't the greatest. Like you could go and use the restroom, and the whole house would sway back and forth, and just I lived on the East End, so majority of people know about the East End. There's just a lot of things that go on down there. So the house next door, like there was a guy that lived there and just didn't care who came there and partied, did whatever you wanted to. So I seen like backyard wrestling, just stuff I shouldn't have seen at my age. I mean, it's cool, every kid likes to see things like that, but really, once you get older, you realize that it doesn't, you didn't need to see that. So just, I kind of felt like that's what I'm going to do, but I didn't. I still stayed in school, and it wasn't until about 16 when I really started doing anything. I started smoking weed for the first time, and like I thought that was the best thing in the world. You know, well, started hanging out with a couple other people, and I started drinking, and it wasn't that I drank all the time. It was just here and there, and so like it was like that for a few years. Never had a problem. Never had no trouble. Well, I finally ended up losing my license in 2015 over an OVI coming back from Kentucky because they said I was under the influence of marijuana because my tongue was green. Yeah, a lot of people think it's funny. And so while I had marijuana on me, I still went to jail. I spent the night in jail and everything. Well, still didn't stop. I kept smoking weed. Smoking weed kept me from getting a lot of jobs. Like I'm a certified electrician. Like I could have been working in Columbus or anywhere else for this matter because I couldn't pass a drug test. And so continued to keep doing that. Things just got worse and worse after that. Like, and then, I ended up having my son at 20, and like, then decided I was going to watch this show called Breaking Bad, and most people know about it. About a guy who cooks meth. Well, I ended up trying meth for the first time, then decided that I was going to be the next Walter White. So I started cooking meth with one of my friends and everything, and like I never had, what's it saying? Restricted for some audience.
It says it's still live. Put my thumb over it. Oh, just saying that it's restricted for some audiences because they might be too young.
Oh, okay.
Basically.
So, well, I ended up, I lived on Summit Street here in Portsmouth at the apartment complex. And, well, this is at the time I was doing it. And, well, I decided that the people that I was cooking with, that I was just going to go and do my own thing because it was probably, better to do it that way. I'd make more money. I ain't got to worry about the hassle. And so I decided the first time that I was going to do it, I didn't put it all together. I ended up going to get some weed. And next thing I know, I'm sitting at Oasis, and one of my friends jumps out and was like, "Hey, the cops and stuff's at your house." I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah." So I try to get him to get in the vehicle with me. He's like, "I'm not getting in the vehicle if you're going to the house. Like, there's too much going on there." So I go to the house. I pull off down the road, and I start to walk. And I'm right there on Grant Street, and like I see ambulances, fire trucks. Then I see, of course, the little, I don't know, which trailer they come with the meth lab thing. So I'm like, I knew it was for me. So I decided I'm gonna take off running. Well, I started to, and I heard a bunch of people yelling like, "Hey, you gonna let your girl go down for this?" And I knew that my son was there, and so I turned around and went back, and I turned myself in. Well, all I had 3 chemicals in a bottle, and so that was enough to, of course, charge me for manufacturing. I got charged with an F1 manufacturing, F2 chemicals, and F3 child endangering. Uh, well, fortunately for me, what helped me was the fact we sat in jail for almost 90 days before we got our indictment. And so by the time we got to go to court on 96 days, they let us sign our own OR to get out. We got out right before Christmas. So like I got charged later on when I went to court. They dropped it down to an F5 aggravated possession of methamphetamines because all it was chemicals in a bottle. And I ended up doing probation, got treatment, little conviction, 3 years paper with, and I went to Hope Source was the treatment I went to. Well, I was doing well, and then just decided, I can drink. That's fine. Drinking, I can get it out of my system in a day, like 24 hours and it's out. So then I got drunk one night and decided, I'm gonna hit the bong. Nothing like a bong hit, so you grab a hold and start doing it. And I, of course, was sick as a dog. I never want to go through that again. Terrible. And so I'm back to smoking weed again. Well, I'm just kept dipping and dodging probation, and I never really touched meth again until 2020. But I'm still in and out of treatment. I went through Hope Source, and then I ended up going through Hughes Reentry and Franklin Furnace. Love both of them. Like, great people, a lot of great, like Hughes Reentry had just started out, so it was kind of new, and I guess now it's just inpatients, from what I heard.
Yep.
But I was the first group of men to go through their outpatient at the time, and well, my mom was there. Like, how ironic to go to treatment and your mom be in treatment at the same place as you. So it was just like, all right, now it just kind of opens your eyes, like, damn, you and your mom both are in treatment, and like, where you spend your life at. So I thought, I'm gonna do better. I stopped smoking weed, and I started to try and be there for my family, but I still couldn't because I'd rather party and do all that. Well, I ended up getting with this girl after me and my wife split up because she was just tired of me, going to jail for smoking weed and running from probation and this and that. And so I got with this girl in 2019. I was only with her for 7 months, 8 months maybe. Just the whole time, there was so much going on in the apartment that, like, I wish I didn't go through, but I still never touched most of the drugs and everything, but I still smoked weed and I still partied, and I ran from probation for 8 months. And well, finally, I went and took care of that. And well, by this time, something had happened right before Christmas. I hate talking about it. But her son got hurt, who was 5 months at the time, and they blamed me for it. So I ended up going to jail. I sat at Cyber County Jail for like 16 months before I finally went to prison. So I was locked up for a little over 4 years for something I really didn't do. But the whole time I was just strung out in there. It wasn't. It was like, I just did stupid shit in there. Like, I don't know if anyone knows what tune is, but I got strung out on tune. It's just a piece of paper with some drugs sprayed on it, and like, I just started stealing from people. Like, I stole from one of the head bloods while I was in there, and like, I literally could have died. But what saved me was the fact that I knew certain people that was, friends with the guy, and like, so all I had to do was just pay it off. But it really stopped me from doing a lot of things. And just like, I continued to keep doing it. And finally I stole from someone that I actually kind of looked up to while I was in there. And like, really opened my eyes, because he slapped me awake while I was in there. Like, I'll never forget that. And like, so I stopped doing that, and just, like, oh, I'm better than that. So I got clean. I was clean for a couple months, and then I got right back to doing meth again, because it was the cheapest thing to get in there, the easiest thing to get, and because you're paying for a little pen of weed for $25 when you can buy a nice 2 lines for $10.
So real quick, a lot of people don't understand exactly how easy it is to get drugs while you're in jail. Like, we both know, we both been in jail. There's an abundance of drugs in jail, is there not?
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's almost easier to get it in jail than it is on the street.
It was before I went in. Like, now I don't know, like, because they really cracked down on jail, but in prison, like, it's so easy to get your hands on anything. Like if you know the right person, all you gotta do is say, "Hey, can you get this?"
Right.
They gonna get it. You know, like I went to Pickaway. I was at Pickaway County, and like some things happened there. Like the people, one of the guys I knew from here, you know, who did tattoos. Most people might know him. His name was Bubbaloo, and like good dude, and just like didn't want to do some tattoos and getting beat to death while I was there. And well, another dude ended up getting a broomstick shoved up his ass. And you know, like just being there, watching all these fights go down, and just the way that some of the inmates were being treated, and just me being treated, how I was getting treated myself, like because I'm respectful as can be, and then you'd have these people coming in thinking they better than me and talking down to me, and it's like, so like, what are you supposed to do? Like, I understand that I'm in trouble and shouldn't be, but it's like they make it hard for you to want to be better. So like the whole time I was just down. Well, so it finally came up that I find out that I got a court date for January 11th of this year. And so I'm like, okay, hopefully things go well, but it's still just like when I thought I was going to leave, I didn't leave. So I'm like, my hope just wasn't the greatest. So I kept getting high. And well, finally, I go to chow, I come back, and he's like, well, this CO Arthur was his name, and like, an asshole. Not a lot of people like him. And so they tell him like, "Hey, you got to go to the quartermaster. You're going home." So I go home. While I come to court, or I come to side of county jail. While I'm in there, like this is the worst ever. Like I'm telling you, the county jail now is not like it used to be. Now it's run by the sheriff's office, and like they don't give you towels, they don't give you toilet paper to wipe your ass, they don't give you a toothbrush. They don't. I didn't get nothing. Every time I kept asking for something, well, I have someone in there. Well, we're all inmates. Like
Right.
what we get, we want to hold on to that stuff because we barely get it. So ain't nobody gonna come off that. So like I had to jump in the shower. As I'm in the shower, finally someone gave me a towel. Like as soon as I go to get out, or I'm in there, they call me for court. I'd hurry up and get out. I'm cold. It's cold, of course, in January. I, go to court. They give me my release, my judicial. So I get back, and I'm like, all right. So I'm nervous because I'm anxious to get out. 4 years is a long time. I'm thinking everyone's going to be there. Things going to be great. Well, finally, I get out. And like my dad was there. I got to see my dad, and I seen my brother later on that night, but that was all I seen. And of course, my aunt passed away. And that was really all I had was my aunt. And so it was a lot different to see how things was because, of course, my aunt not living on the East End. I can't go over and see her, so I got depressed. I decided I was just going to do meth every now and again, but I still smoked weed. Continued, I never stopped doing it. And so, like, I had to go to probation, and like, I just was going to probation whenever I felt like going. And so I was trying to go right back into the same cycle that I was doing. And so finally, one day I go and I tell him, like, listen, because he was talking about drug testing me, and I'm like, I'm homeless, but this is what I got in my system. I still never told him that I did meth. So, but it was this fact that I was homeless and I was going through a lot of mental stuff because they don't teach you in prison that life has changed.
A lot of people don't understand when you go to prison or go to jail and you go for an extended amount of time. You go in the world you knew. When you get out, everything's different. Everything's changed. You don't know stuff, like especially if you go back to your hometown, like, and they redo stuff in your town. It's just like everything just throws you off.
I mean, it's still Portsmouth, of course. Like Portsmouth
Right.
itself, it's just not going to change. But it's just everything I knew is just not the same. Like friends that you had or you thought you had are no longer there. Like family that was supposed to be there for me the whole time, like ain't there no more. Like I got maybe 3 people in my whole family that I still talk to, and I barely talk to them when I do talk to them. So it's just so the whole time, like, So as I'm telling him about that, that I need help. Like I'm going through it. Like it's just so much is going on. So he tells me, like, I see that you're still working. He's like, I want to help you out. He's like, but you keep messing up. He's like, what are we gonna do? He's like, well, you got somewhere you could go? And I tell him, I said, not really. Like I can't stay in Wayne Hills because I'm not supposed to, and everything. So and I'm working on that too. But so it come down to, well, call your employer and see if he'll hold your job for you if we put you in inpatient treatment. And here I am, like scared to death, don't want to go to treatment. Like, no, I've never been to inpatient. Like, I'm about to lose everything again that I've worked for. And so he tells me, well, it's between a 45 and 90-day program, which was crap. And it's 90 days for sure. So I go, I'm like, all right, I'll give it a chance, which was honestly the best thing I did because, like, I wouldn't be at where I'm now. Like, it's only been 6, 7 months, maybe 6 at the most, or 7 at the most.
That's 6 months.
And like, I'm about to be a manager at Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, I took my DUI class to get my license back. Like, I've almost got him back. I'm getting ready to go to court to get visitations of my son back. It's just been a lot. Like, I'm grateful for where I am now, but it's just been a struggle of what I had to go through just to get to where I'm at. Right. And like, really, it shouldn't have because of the choices I made. But really, if I had the stable home that I was supposed to have thought I was having, but I keep using that as an excuse. That's been my excuse my whole life. Is, oh well, it's because of my parents. No, it's because of me. I made the choices, but all I can do is make better of them. And if I don't, then I'm just going to continue going right back to the same cycle. Like, I want a better life. Like, I'm actually in a relationship that I'm happy to be in. I'm paying for a bed. Like, I got my own bed, which is crazy. Never really paid for anything. Like, and I almost got it paid off. I have paid off next month. No, and like, I'm just happy for the little things that I got. I got a brand new phone. I wouldn't have these things if I didn't take that chance to take, wanting to better my life. And now look where I'm at.
Right. I wanted to bring you on to talk, for the first one, because one, you're one of the main ones I still stay in contact with. The people that I had as clients. Me and you still talk all the time and stuff, and you've been doing really good. And when you first came into treatment, you were a little stubborn. It was, oh well, I wasn't doing this. I wasn't doing meth a whole lot. It's weed's not really that bad. A little bit of time, and you realized. Me and you had a lot of conversations, and I let you lead yourself in some of the conversations. We talk about stuff, but I kind of let you, let answer your own questions and kind of figure things out. I leave a lot of open-ended questions out there for you. A little bit of time, you were like, man, even though I wasn't, doing using meth a whole lot, I shouldn't have been using it at all. And then it was, I started smoking weed to, help me with my anxiety and all that stuff. And then I wanted to get high all the time. And you kind of started figuring things out and putting things in place for yourself and kind of, led yourself in the right direction to understand. Because I can tell you all day until you're blue in your face, you're screwing up.
Yeah, but it takes me to.
If you don't, I mean, you've seen it. You was there. I had we was just talking about before we started live. I had a guy in there telling me, "Oh, I didn't relapse because I was big on heroin and I was just smoking weed." Okay, why were you smoking weed? What were you using that for? Well, just I like the way it made me feel, like the head changing. I'll say, you were smoking to get high. No, it's not a relapse. Yeah, that's not a free lapse. That's a relapse. Like you found an alternative for what you were doing, and it took him a little while to finally agree to it. And then he ended up leaving and went back home to another treatment facility. But, it took him a little while to kind of understand that himself. I told him, and everybody tried telling him, hey, look, you found an alternative. Just like me, I was an alcoholic, so I preferred Jose Cuervo. So if I was going out and drinking a beer and not drinking Jose, did I relapse because I didn't drink what I preferred?
All right.
But you led yourself in your own direction to kind of figure it out yourself. And you did really, really good. You started working. You kind of went through some stuff while you was in treatment, dealt with some issues, of your own, and
I went through that the HIPAA problem where they tried to say I videotaped a wrap up and tried to get someone in trouble, which wasn't true. Like I went through that and almost messed me up. I'm going to transitional. Went to transitional. I forgot to add this too. And I was only in there for like 2 weeks, and they tried to say I failed a drug test for THC, and my levels were like 23 point something percent, and hadn't smoked.
23.6.
Yeah, you'd know.
Yeah, because I went through you guys' drug screens
and
all the time.
So, well, they were trying to put me back into treatment for a month, which would have cost me my job. And so I kept telling my probation officer, like, listen, I've not lied to you since, day one. Why would I lie now? And luckily I had someone, trying to help out too. And so I got into outpatient, which I'm currently still in. I still go to outpatient. Now it's every 2 weeks instead of once a week. I got dropped down. So I got dropped down at probation also. I go every 2 weeks now. So I mean, I'm
a lot better than what you were doing. You were intense.
So I mean, I'm doing the right things, and just you got to surround yourself with people that is going to be there for you. If not, they're not for you. And so what I do now, I go to work and I go home. I sit at home. I don't hardly go nowhere because I know that it's better for me. It's probably not better for some people, but it's better for me. Because I know that once I get out there, I like to do stupid things. I like to have fun. I like to goof off. So I know once I do that, it's gonna cause something, and I'm right back in the same situation that I used to be. So I know that if I stay at home, I mean, I watch TV all day. I mean, I play some video games. But
actually, you dealt with that too while using treatment when you had your TV and stuff and had your game system, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, you can't have that in your room," and so you set up your own little area underneath the steps. They said you could have it out there as long as it wasn't in your personal room.
Because I just knew that, because being in treatment, like inpatient, like that'll help you with patience a lot. Like if you're not one for patience and you want to build on it, like that's the best way to do it. Like because you're around 15, well, the minimum 9 people to 20. There was once we had like what, 21?
We had I think 21 or 22 in the house at one time.
And well, then of course you having the other treatments when something happened, having to come and stay with us. So it was like so many people, and of course all them different personalities, and it was like being in prison again. It really was, except we could go outside, and we had somewhat of a freedom,
right?
But really, it's like if you wanted it, you was going to be there. If you didn't want it, you was going to leave. And I've seen a lot of people leave because they didn't want it. And there was so many times I told myself, I'm done. I'm going home. I'm going home. But what was that going to get me? Because I know that the only thing that really kept me was my son. I know that if I can be there and continue to doing the right thing, there ain't nobody can tell me I can't see my son.
Right.
And so I just wanted that first time, like so I'm working towards getting this manager position and working towards getting my license, and then my home I can call my own. And like the only way I can do that is if I keep doing what's best for me, and it works. Like I don't attend meetings. Like I don't feel like I need to go to these meetings because a lot of them, like not all people there, but most of them are self-centered and only about themselves. And so and if you want to go to a meeting, find you a group of friends that's trying to do the same thing and have your own meeting.
Right.
because that's the best one. Because then right there, you're gonna give input no matter what. You're not. It's just, or have other treatment places group up and have their own thing like that.
And while you was in treatment, you guys had your own meetings at the house, which they called
Yeah.
wrap up. But they had to the point where they would sit outside. You guys would have bonfires.
And a lot of time, them were the best meetings right there. Was having them wrap up because we were so used to being around each other. We kind of got used to being around each other, and it was like we knew that we could talk about things and actually open up. Because this person would open up with something, and then this person would be like, you know what, I'm gonna share my story, and then it was just a big thing. Like we had the occasional stubborn people, like yeah, but of course, you know what, they'd start working the program a little bit and be doing great. Like I never did a 12-step program, like because I just didn't think that I needed to really sit and tell myself that I needed to do these steps, because then I'm getting myself into another routine of having to do something, and that's what I'm trying to break.
Right.
I don't want to be in a routine. Like I want to quit smoking cigarettes, but sometimes it's hard to do that because my hand would keep doing this because I'm so used to doing it.
Right.
So like I'll be sitting like this, and then it's instant. Oh man, cigarette sounds nice, and like that's an addiction that I'm trying to get away from too. And caffeine. I drink so much energy drinks. Oh, it's ridiculous.
I don't drink them anymore.
I mean,
you've seen how many I drink
yeah.
2 or 3 20-ounce Red Bulls a day, but now it has been like 2 weeks since I've had a Red Bull. I drink a lot of water. I do drink pop, some, but most part for me it's water. I cut back on smoking. I vape. Before I was smoking a pack of cigarettes plus vaping a day. Now a pack of cigarettes lasts me 4 or 5 days. I buy 2 packs of cigarettes a week.
That's good.
And it lasts me. But like you said, I got my own little routine. My routine is if I'm not working, I'm home. I've been in that routine for a while. I went through some stuff last year, got it all, taken care of, about to have it all, done. Kind of similar, got in some trouble for some shit that I didn't do. I mean, it wasn't even anything, a big deal, really. I mean, yours was like yours. That was a big thing, people, saying stuff like that, because then you get looked upon in a certain way. And
I mean, it's still haunting me now because
it will.
Right now it's the fact that like I'm waiting on a background check, which of course is going to show everything that I've got with, but which shouldn't penalize me getting a job at a restaurant because it has nothing to do with.
It's just the fact that you have to explain.
Yeah, which I already did. I explained to my general manager about everything. Like I was open about it completely, because I've got nothing to hide from anybody. Like
right.
I'll tell you. Yeah, if you want to know about it, I'll tell you. There's nothing to lie about. But fact is, like, they're worried about that could potentially cost me my job because of where we hire minors, and that had happened, which I don't see why it should, because that's been almost 5 years ago.
Right.
This December, the 24th of this month would be 5 years.
It shouldn't. You like you said, you did your time. You did what you needed to do for the disciplinary of it, even though you didn't do anything wrong. I get it, like 100%. It's embarrassing to have to sit and tell somebody about it, when you're, for a job. Just like me, like I went to several, how many interviews I've went to and talked to people, and they're like, so what's going on? You just telling us about this? I'm like, attempted obstruction is what they wanted to charge me with. He was like, how did you attempt to obstruct? I'm like, I didn't know somebody's legal name. I didn't know it. They asked a question. I answered it. Knew an alias. That's all I knew. The guy told me to, let them know who he was. Can't let them know if I don't know his legal name. They didn't like that. They didn't like that answer. But, 100%, that's just, it's that he can verify this. That's side accounting for you.
Yeah.
100%. Like, you can call big cities and talk to a lawyer about representing you for a criminal case, and they will 100% deny it
because of side accounting.
They will. I've been told we do not practice that type of law. I'm like, what are you talking about? They said Sauter County does whatever the hell they want. You know, and that they're not wrong. Like I'm not.
I mean, what's it, Julie Hutchinson? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that woman was so set on trying to put me down. Like she wanted no less than 8 years. She was trying to get that out of me. I mean, really, she got it because I only did 4, and I still got pretty much 4 over my head because I got to do the probation, and of course the year that I got out on, because I had 5 and I got out on 3, but still altogether it's 8 years.
Right.
But then it was like 6.5 was my first offer. And then it was 8, and then it was down to this one. And like the only thing that helped me really to get that was the fact that I had a good lawyer. And if it wasn't for my grandpa, I wouldn't have had that.
Who'd you have as a lawyer?
Well, originally I had Eddie Edwards,
Okay.
and then my grandpa got Rick Faulkner.
Rick is a beast.
So, and like the whole time, like all the way up to it, we was dead determined on taking it to trial. And then 2 days before that, he came in and was like, listen, he's like, we had a case that came in that was similar to yours. He said the only difference was that the child did die. He's like, but yours didn't, of course. But the fact is the way that they looked at her and treated her would happen to me. So he was worried that it would become a biased juror because of all these pictures that they had. The pictures that I got, there was nothing wrong with. No bruises, no nothing, no marks. They tried to say it was this and that, but you know, you're gonna have. And then the fact that there were so many people pointing fingers at me saying, "Oh, I know he had to have done that." No one had physical evidence saying that they saw me put my hand on any of the kids that I was watching.
Right.
Never had a problem with watching my own kid. Like I'm great with kids. Kids,
right.
I don't. Every time I go around kids, that just
you're just a big kid yourself.
Exactly. I like to have fun. I like to goof. I like to laugh. That's what's fun to me. And what messed me up was the fact that I didn't ask for a lawyer when from the get go. I should have said I want a lawyer. I should have talked to a detective. That would have kept me from going to prison.
Listen, from what I just went through, I'm glad you said I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give my personal recommendation. Anytime anybody comes to you, whether you're guilty or not, they come to you to question you, plead the fifth immediately. Request a lawyer. Because like I voluntarily went down and spoke to the detectives about all this stuff. And
that's what I
like they asked me, I told them, and they were trying to get me to basically say that the guy hurt the guy intentionally, and I'm like, no, that wasn't the case.
It was Lynn. Not, I don't think it was Lynn Burr. What's the other one?
I don't remember.
Might have been Lynn. I don't know. It was a Detective Burr, is all I know.
Oh.
He was like literally had me trapped in this little small ass room.
That's who.
And like was breathing down my throat, telling me, "I know you did it. You just tell me you did it. All this is lies." Because he said that he knew I did it because my body language. He said because I wouldn't look at him. And of course, like when you're yelling at me, I get fidgety. Like I'm sitting here doing this, and I'm fidgety as heck, and I'm not doing nothing wrong but talking on a camera. And I'm over here doing this now because I'm nervous.
Listen, I'm such an asshole. I went in, and as soon as they opened the door, I started recording. I laid my phone down. And I just looked at him and said, just so you know, I'm recording. And he just kind of looked at me. I was like, for my protection, because I know how some things go. Not saying you're doing it, but I know how some people do it. You guys will go in and you guys will edit stuff. This 100% is not going to be edited. And me and him, it started out, normal conversation. Then he kept trying to press me to say that, this guy, my buddy hurt this guy on purpose.
Like
I'm like, it was an accident, dude.
Like they interviewed her brother, and then come and interviewed me like 2.5 hours later. Like I was handcuffed to a bench for 4 hours, just sitting there watching them, drink pop, eat chips, laughing and carry on in another room while I'm sitting there miserable, having to pee and everything. Like they did me dirty. And then when I got in there, I told him my story, exactly how it was. My story had never changed, and it's still the same story. Like, cause that's what happened.
Right.
And hers is, well, this, and then this, and always on drugs. Never was on drugs the whole time I was with her. And then I smoked weed. I drank occasionally, but still, like, it was just like her story changed. Well, first I was the boyfriend, then I wasn't the boyfriend, then I was just a living babysitter, and then I wasn't. And it was like, make up your mind, girl. And like, still to this day, the girl hits me up and like just keeps trying to get money out of me. Like, come on, like you as a mother, I don't care what the situation is. If you hurt my child, I'm not going to message you. I'm not. Right. I wish death upon you.
Like
she'll see me at the store and come running up. Hey, Jay, how you doing? Like, it's great to see you. She did it. Me and her down at the fucking Speedway. I was like,
See, me and you, while you was in treatment, like me and you had this conversation. We talked about everything, and like you told me what all happened, and all that stuff. And we kind of went through, and just that way it made it easier on you. And like I told you, when you did your lead when you left, I told you didn't have to talk about it if you didn't want to. I was still that way. If there's something you don't want to talk about, you don't have to. Sometimes it's tough.
I mean, it's tough, but still, if I don't talk about it, how am I going to explain the whole story?
Right.
How am I really going to tell everyone what I got over to
Right.
get to where I'm at? Because really, that's enough to just really end everything. Like, because when you get accused of hurting someone like that, like a 5-month-old, if anything, like, you're the worst person in the world to everyone's eyes.
Yeah.
And but I'm still trying to overcome that because I know that I'm better than that. I don't care what people think about me. I really don't. Like I'm still gonna go to work. I'm still gonna work hard. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna be there for my family is what I'm gonna do. And I don't care about nothing else.
Shoo. And I got big on the lead thing because I'm pretty sure you was already there when I gave my lead.
Yeah.
But I'd never gave a lead before, and I sat and I cried, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
You kept fidgeting with your vape.
Embarrassing.
Kept fidgeting with it.
But to me, sitting down and talking about telling your story, it does two things. One, it helps people, because some people see it as in, I'm alone in this. Nobody else has to go through this. I can't make it. And then when they hear somebody else's story, they can reconcile with it and be like, hey, I understand this. Like I'm going through the similar thing, but you as an individual, when you sit down and you give your lead, like for me, when I never gave my lead before, I sat down and I talked about everything that I went through, being in a coma and being an alcoholic and military and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And when you talk about everything at once, it emotionally it destroys you for a minute. Like, holy hell, I've done all that.
Once. It's like you can't hold back no more sometimes.
Right. And you kind of finally understand. You're like, man, I've been through all that. And now look where I'm at. Look what I'm doing. Look how I am. And that's why I wanted to bring you on, because me and you sat down and you gave me your individual lead, talked to me, and, during our individuals, and you told me everything. But when you gave your lead in front of everybody else, you left out stuff because you didn't want to talk about it because it was still tough for you, like what you just talked about. It was still kind of tough for you to talk about, and you know how some people are. No matter what, you go and tell them, and they'll be like, "Man, you're a great person." They find out that you got accused of doing this, and automatically it's like, "Oh, you're a POS."
Yeah, because
they don't
know. They always say there's three sides to the story. There's your side, their side, and the truth.
The truth. Yep.
It don't matter what goes on. One of you is wrong, one of you is right, or you're both wrong.
Right.
And so it causes that much problems.
Yeah. So how many treatment facilities total have you been through?
3.
So what is the biggest difference between all 3 of them that you kind of
really it's
recognized?
Well, because I've been to the 2 outpatient and then the 1 inpatient, but it's the counselors really.
I'll have to download the video. Ran out of storage. It's all right.
But it's really on the counselors that is what brings everyone together, because if you don't have a good counselor that's trying to help you and or that's understanding, then you're not really going to want help. Because if you just put somebody in a room that's just, well, here's some work, just read the paper, or we're going to go over some paperwork, like you're not really learning nothing. Yeah, you're reading something, going over something, but by that time you just forgot. Like, some places, like certain counselors have like games, like they'll do activities, they'll do this, and then you just have them occasional that don't. But that's what really makes a treatment place is their counselors, and you can't just hire anybody and say, here, do a good job.
Right.
Anybody can play Batman. Not everyone can play Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're true. You're right on that. So, all right, a lot of people think, when somebody gets in trouble, they're automatically like, oh, they should go to prison. In your opinion, what did prison do to you and to you for your your addiction and your recovery?
In prison, like it gave me a lot of time. Like I had a lot, because of course when you're doing meth, you're up for days, or just depending on how good it is, whatever. And so you just have time to think, reflect on things, and really, I just had time to sit in all the relationships that I've messed up because of me doing drugs or cheating or whatever else it may be. It's just I had time to realize that when I got out, that I wanted to be in a relationship and actually have a family, and I'm working on it. Like it's I've had my moments, and won't say that I haven't. But like it's gave me PTSD because of just seeing things and just certain like you have to be on your P's and Q's about everything because you say the wrong thing, you look at the wrong person. Like really, just people just don't care. No
Right.
matter how sweet the place may be, you're gonna get that occasional person that just you looked at me wrong. Like, well, you looking at you being nosy. Like we step in the bathroom, like that's just how it is, and just it really is all about who you know there, how good of like what you do to help somebody. Like that's why I got lucky that I went to Pickaway, yes, but just still at the same time, like I went through hell mentally because I didn't have no one to call. I couldn't just call somebody and just hey, how you doing? I couldn't chop
Right.
it up with them. Nobody messaged me. The only person that wrote me was my mom. And my mom's currently incarcerated also.
Right.
So it's like it's not like I could just call her, hey mom, how you doing? Like, and then of course my grandma now lives in Arizona. I might as well just say that. I don't know how far that is, but far enough. And like but I'm realizing now that I could have 1,000 people, but really I gotta have myself, even if because 1,000 people ain't gonna have me. And that's what I had to realize that I got to count on myself. It's good to have help, but really that help may not always be there. If it falls out, where you going to fall back on it? Yourself. And so I had to build my mental state up. And like I was on medication, I was on Lexapro, and I was on hydroxyzine, and I no longer take them. I quit taking it while I was still in inpatient treatment.
Right.
Because I just realized that, I'm trying to get away from my drug addiction, not get on another drug just to help my mental state. Like that's,
Right.
I need to work on myself. I need to find different ways that I can take my feelings and, express them in a different way. And for me, it was always laughter or writing music or working. Like I don't keep my mind focused on something. Like, cause if I can do that, then everything else goes out the window because I'm focused on doing something and getting it done. And that's what's really kept me dedicated to continue to stay clean and doing what I'm doing now.
Okay. So, what do you think the main thing is you learned this last time that made a big difference in you to the point where you're still 6 months later, you're still clean?
I want to go back to jail. Really, like, yeah, I won't lose my son because if I go to jail, I won't be able to get him back. Like, I'm sure I could years down the road, but I don't want to take them years.
Right.
I
You
want
already
it
missed
now.
enough
Like,
time.
I'm ready to, I've missed so much time for something I didn't do. And now, that's what it took for me. Like, I went and so struggling with that. Oh, I kind of lost thought for a second. My mind went blank.
Asking what you thought was the big
Oh,
difference
yeah.
that helped you change
It's
after
just
this
really
time.
just keeping focused that I just don't want to go back to the county jail really because I ended up going, of course, where I started making my own jail time or my own hours of going to probation, checking in. I ended up having to do a weekend in jail just to keep my job. But doing that, like I slept on the ground for 2 days. I didn't have a mat. Some dude gave me a turtle suit. I laid on the floor and I took my blanket and someone gave me another blanket luckily, and that's what I slept on for 2 days. I didn't eat for 2 days, nothing. I slept on that ground. I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm sleeping. And just knowing that I don't want to go back to that place is really what has helped me. Because I know eventually they don't matter how good you do that. It could be a speeding, excessive speeding tickets. It could be child support. It could be just something minor that you could end up going to jail for.
Right.
Like nowadays, especially being in Scioto County, like it's that easy. And
jaywalking. They just take you
I mean, really, like I see a cop and I start to walk across the street, I'll stop and I'll let the cop go before I walk across the street. Like hell no, I don't. Like I just don't. I just want a better life for me and my kid, and the only way I'm gonna do that is if I continue to stay clean and sober. I can't keep going out here wilding out and expecting things to come to me. You know, can't do the same thing, expect the same, different results.
right. Yeah. I'm glad you came on. Me and you talk. I know what's going on with you. We talk all the time, but I wanted you to be able to talk to people and people actually hear you, and so it'll help. I got some other people that's going to be coming on. Tyler is going to be coming on. He's one that I talked to about it. There's several. I've got like 20 people that I've talked to that's asked about coming on.
Tyler be going.
Yeah, Tyler's got a really good lead. He was Tyler actually trained me when I started there, and well, he went. So Tyler went to train me, and he started like trying to tell. He's like, I think you got to do this, and I started explaining stuff, and he just looked at me. He's like, what the hell? Like, man, I got some experience in this, and he went and told his boss. It was like, listen, dude's good. He's like, after a day.
Tyler's helped me out a lot too.
Oh yeah, Tyler.
Like just every
Tyler's moved up.
It's just every time Tyler. Yeah, he told me. It's just every time he sees me, it's just like, man, how you doing? You doing great? He's like, I'm proud. He's like, keep it up. Like it's always motivational every time he sees me. It's never just keep walking, never ignore me. It's like, what's up, bub? Or if he's busy, he'll still stop and acknowledge. Like, hey man, like how you doing? And that's what I liked about out there. And there's only like 3 or 4 people out there that I liked. Now there's only 2, 3.
Everybody thought I was just
4.
An asshole.
That's 4. I like Janice.
I love Janice. She's a sweetheart. Yeah, there's good ones there. There's there's good ones that work there. There's some that work there. A lot of people didn't like Tiff. A lot of people didn't like Tiff and said she was a biddy. But
I loved her.
Tiff is basically she's the female version of me.
Like she was mad that I had to get kicked out of transitional. Like,
right.
She thought that was stupid as fuck. Sorry, my language, but really, like it was. They kicked me out over that when, like, I'm there to get help. Not like I can understand put maybe restrictions on that.
Right.
When I can go out, where I can go, I get that much. But for just to tell me, oh well, you're gone over a little THC, it's ridiculous.
Right.
But I'm glad it did, really, because I'm.
Tiff's one of those that if she likes you, she likes you. But even if she doesn't like you, she doesn't treat you different. Yeah. She's just very, very blunt, whether she likes you or not. She doesn't try to sugarcoat anything. She's really good in the field. Mandy's the same way. She tells you, but she says everything in a sweet, calm manner. So, well, I'm glad you came on, AJ. I appreciate it. 60 minutes is almost up, so it'll probably end up cutting off, but I'll stop it before then. This thing, I thought I had more storage. I should have brought down my external hard drive, and it stopped recording about, 10 minutes ago.
Well, I'm sure you can take your live recording. And
I think I can save it. I'll save it and put it on my computer.
I mean, it got the good part, really.
Oh, yeah.
Like the actual lead out.
Yeah.
And if I need to come back, do like a little ending part,
I might have you back on.
We can do
this is something I've been sitting down, been contemplating on wanting to do, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And then I was up late one night and I couldn't sleep, and I got thinking about, I'm like, I've not seen a lot of stuff about recovery, and that's what I want to do,
especially not around here.
So I messaged you like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and was like, man, I got this idea. So I'm glad that I decided to follow through with it. But appreciate you coming on. Proud of you. You're still doing good. I talk to you all the time, and I tell you all the time I'm proud of you. You came a long way.
I'm gonna keep doing what I gotta do.
Just keep doing it. That's all you gotta do. That's all you can do at this point.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. You're gonna see my big butt get up and end the live.
Heard that.
Big butt, get up and end the life.
Heard that.
Big butt, get up and